Ewan McGregor was hanging out with Conan O'Brien recently and was talking about what it was like to, or what it might be like to get back into the robes. You know, something, Jim, and I don't know if it's on this appearance, but there was an appearance by Ewan. He was talking about the position that he was put in by Disney and by Lucasfilm of, you know, for more than a year, having to go around and do these interviews and essentially lying because they wouldn't announce anything. And yet all these leaks were happening. And, you know, he said it got embarrassing.
He was coached by Lucasfilm. You know that.
Yeah.
You know,
sure.
Hey, if they ask you anything, just lie about it. That's how we do things around here. Just lie through your teeth. And Ewan's like, oh, you know, I don't feel really good about this. Do it! And Kathleen Kennedy's door slams shut. But, you know, he does bring it up in this Conan interview. I didn't pull that actual piece of audio because it's very similar to some comments he's made in the past that we've played here on the show. But I really wanted to focus in on him looking forward to Kenobi. And he talks a little bit about how he's getting closer to the age Alec Guinness was in the original Star Wars, and how that different perspective may help him as he returns to the role.
The most satisfying thing about those films, other than some of the fight sequences, which were amazing to do, was the study of Alec Guinness and trying to be believably him as a younger man. That was, as an acting challenge, that was the most satisfying thing about those movies. And so now that's the same, except I'm just closer to the age he was when he played that film. So it'll be interesting to play him now. And also it being post, you know, plot-wise, the 3 films that I made already, it's after that, obviously.
Right. So
there's a bit of story plot there.
There's a nice arc that you can play with.
I hope so.
Yeah. So the enthusiasm is there, Jim. I mean, you know, let's be honest. The prequels were divisive and in their time, but one thing that really united fans across all the generations was Ewan McGregor's performance as Obi-Wan Kenobi. Most consider him the brightest spot, if not, you know, the brightest spot of the prequel trilogy. And I have to agree, though I don't share the sentiments that the prequel trilogy was subpar, but clearly Ewan McGregor was a major standout, and I think it was because he took the role so seriously, or at least he took inhabiting a role that was created by another actor very seriously, and he was so convincing.
And I thought he very skillfully blended in Sir Alec Guinnessisms throughout his performance. It was very subtle sometimes, but when he would say to Anakin, "This saber is your life," I really was feeling he was channeling Sir Alec Guinness.
Yeah.
And I wonder how much more of that we'll be seeing in the Kenobi series, because obviously it's on the forefront of his mind. Right now, our buddy Ewan McGregor is 49. And but he looks like he did 20-something years ago when he shot Episode 1. He really does.
Really looks great.
He looks fantastic. And so he'll be 49/50 when he's shooting this series. And Sir Alec Guinness, believe it or not, was only 61 when he shot Star Wars.
What a difference.
He looks like he's 71. You know, he looks like he's 71, but he was only 61. You know, a lot of people have things to say about how Ben Kenobi ages between, you know, obviously different actors. Yeah, we get that. But it's not that big of a stretch, because you figure the character of Obi-Wan Kenobi, how old do you think he is at the end of Revenge of the Sith? He's probably 20 during during the Phantom Menace, making him 30 for Attack of the Clones. The Clone Wars went over the space of, what, 3 years? Is that how we do it on the timeline?
Yep, 3 years. So the Clone Wars was real time, as what we were experiencing as fans as we were waiting, between episodes 2 and 3. So yeah,
right. So that puts him going into exile at around the age of 33 or so, 34 maybe. And then 20 years later, Luke Skywalker shows up. So Ben Kenobi is about 54 years old in A New Hope. So, that's when you start looking at those twin suns and all that sand flying around, and you say, it's really harsh on his skin, isn't it?
Yeah.
But really, the character, to me, looked and felt more like a 70-year-old man. Even though Alec was, I should say Sir Alec. I don't know him. What do you want me to call him? Big Al? Remember Mark Hamill used to say that?
Well, yeah, right. And you also remember that Sir Alec slapped him across the face when they were dining together, and he said, "I wish to be known by my accomplishments, not my accolades," or something along those lines. You're a good old Brit when you can just slap someone across the face when you're sitting there dining and chastise them.
You have to have a certain level of distinguished charm, I guess.
Yes, exactly.
Because most people will get a slap back if they don't have that.
Unless you're Sir Alec Guinness. But, I like so many Star Wars fans, am mostly it's hard to pick a favorite, but I mean, this is the one, Jim. I mean, if you're a fan from those early days and fell in love with those characters from the original films, I mean, this is something that you've been waiting for a long, well, maybe you didn't even know you were waiting for it, but it's something we've been waiting for a long time. And I think when you look at how Ewan McGregor, how hard he worked in that role and what a great job he did. I just don't think that there's a more fitting character or actor from the prequel era to get another crack at it than Ewan McGregor. I really do.
Yeah.
And the fact that we've got Hayden Christensen popping up in there, just so much the better. Now, of course, you speculated, I believe, that we could see a return of Liam Neeson, perhaps as a Force ghost, communing with Ewan McGregor, Obi-Wan Kenobi. And I believe that Liam was asked recently about the possibility of returning as Qui-Gon Jinn with all this excitement, all these series.
Yeah, he did an interview with Collider.com, and they asked him flat out if he'd like to play Qui-Gon again while he was on their show, on their website to promote his film, The Marksman. So here's a clip of Ewan McGregor, Liam Neeson. The sequels, or the prequels, is overwhelming me right now. I've been messing up names a lot lately, I need to say as well. So forgive me. But Liam Neeson talking to Collider about whether or not he'd like to return to the role of Qui-Gon.
Are you a little surprised at the fans still wanting you to return to play Qui-Gon in some way?
I'll be honest with you, I haven't heard that at all.
Oh, I've definitely heard it.
Okay. Sure, I'd like to. I mean, I'm wondering, is Star Wars starting to fade away from the cinema landscape, do we think?
Actually, Disney Plus is launching like 10 series that are based on Star Wars, and one of them is an Obi-Wan series with Ewan McGregor.
Okay. They're sort of spin-offs, are they?
Yeah, it's gonna take place. See, I was
like
wondering
talking
if
to my
Ewan
grandpa.
had called you and said, "Hey, I'm doing a spin-off series. Maybe we can do like a flashback."
Sure, I'd be up for that. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, sure.
Oh yeah. Wait, that sounds like easy money. Sure. What do I got to do? Sure. Just stand in one place? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, sure, I'll call George Lucas and I'll say, yeah, sure, let's give it another go. And then the guy from Collider is like,
Liam, the Disney company now owns Star Wars. George doesn't make Star Wars movies anymore.
And Liam just stares him down. Well, I don't know what you've been drinking, man, but everyone knows George Lucas makes Star Wars. Now, who are you going to believe? Someone who says he doesn't make them, or someone like me who was actually there and made them with George? That was, of course, before Star Wars faded away from the cinema landscape, I love that line.
Yeah.
Star Wars.
Is anyone still talking about Star Wars? Liam, it's the #1 streaming show in the world, The Mandalorian. We just...
Oh, yeah, but still, it faded away from the cinema landscape,
Oh,
I just love that line. I love that line. Oh, I'm going to call George, Let's have another go, George. Why not, And then we go out to the pub afterwards and probably sit down, have a few drinks, and maybe punch each other out cold, right there. But that's of course only if Star Wars returns to the cinema landscape that it faded away from, It's like, Liam, what? He's like, Star Wait, what is it? Wait, Star Wars? Oh, that's I haven't heard about that since the late 90s, It's like, are you sure? Didn't you do a voice in the Clone Wars at some point? Did I?
I mean, I gotta say, it was jarring to hear him sound that disconnected, because I feel like it wasn't that long ago, as the sequel trilogy was being produced, that he was asked similar questions. Hey, you've got Harrison Ford and Mark Hamill and all these stepping back into the galaxy far, far away. Would you ever consider that? And no, sure, yeah, But now he's like, is Star Wars still a thing?
What the? Well, that kind of indicates to me that he probably has shot stuff for it. And then the Lucasfilm, they trained him. Well, you have to lie through your teeth to people because that's what we do. Oh, But what makes it puzzling is he kind of casts shade on Star Wars altogether. He's like, well, it's faded away, It's who gives a crap about Star Wars anymore? I mean, gee.
You know what? If they're going to make him lie, he's going to really just...
Well, if they're going to make me lie, I'm going to burn the whole house down. You just watch.
Hey, by the way, there was, real quick, I mean... This was
what you
news.
told me to. I did exactly what you told me to. Well, you kind of colored it a little different perspective than we were looking for, Liam. You went off script a little. He's like,
nobody gives two flying about Star Wars anymore.
Well, yeah, did I? Makes you think, doesn't it? Yeah. Why don't you go look in the mirror? Why don't you? I saw episode 9. I know.